Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today's Friday lecture will be delivered by our very own Ali Yunus. Alhamdulillah, he came to Islam in 2004 in this masjid, part of our own community, and we haven't scared him away yet, so alhamdulillah, we've done something right. So brothers, please move forward. Brothers, please move forward. And I think Brother Ali is ready to start. InshaAllah.
Assalamu alaikum. How are we today? Are we okay? Are we relaxed? I'm very nervous. I'll start by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who guided us all to Islam and brought us here today for gathering. Hopefully my talk can be an inspiration, maybe especially for the youngsters among us. InshaAllah. Well, my story starts in Scotland actually. My great-granddad was a Scottish explorer. I'm not sure, I'm vague on the details, but apparently he came to Rhodesia, which is my country, which is now become Zambia after independence. And he came in the 30s, I think, I'm not sure. But he married the locals, one of the natives there, and had many children. And one of those children was my granddad, who is my religious inspiration. He's Christian, he's still alive, he's in his 80s now, very old, and he always believed he would die at the age of 102. I don't know why he believes that. But anyway, he knew the Bible back to front. I mean, like, he could quote a verse, and it was very inspiring when he used to come and visit us from his farm. He would come over to the house, me and my cousins would be there, and then he would speak about, Christianity, Jesus, God, the Bible, everything, and it really lit up my imagination. I was really fascinated with religion in general. So that was the beginning of my search really, and because of that interest he put in me, it led me to taking my Shahada, Alhamdulillah. So anyways, I was born in Zambia in 1980. It was a British colony. We've got about 70 languages there, and my granddad knew most of them, maybe 69 or so, Alhamdulillah. And he was quite famous because he used to travel around the different tribes and teach them the Bible and stuff, and he would come around to our house and do the same. And it was very, very inspirational, alhamdulillah. But over the years we lost contact. I mean, we used to see him less and less. So I guess religion wasn't a big deal in my family for a while, unless my grandfather was around. So we sort of drifted away from religion and all that. We grew up, became teenagers. You know how teenagers are, quite naughty, doing naughty things. But we came through that, alhamdulillah. Allah protected us. We didn't get into too much trouble. Didn't do too many drastic things, alhamdulillah. So a couple of incidents happened in my life. First of all, when I was 2, my father passed away, and he left a young child, obviously, and my mom remarried, and then 6 years later my sister was born, and then my stepdad, he passed away as well, and he passed away like in 91, yeah, 91. And my mom remarried again like in 95, and she had my other younger sister, so I've got 2 young sisters. And we, for a very long time, because life in Zambia wasn't as comfortable, we wanted to come to England, because obviously, because of a Scottish heritage, we had our visa was called an ancestry visa. So basically it just meant if you had ancestors in England, it's easier to come into the country, basically. So for many years we were trying to come, but it was not possible for some reason. We always had disappointments. Every time we were told next year we're coming, next year we're coming, and it just never happened. It just so happened that in '97, things, alhamdulillah, Allah answered our du'as, I guess, and we were able to come to the country. As soon as we came to this country, like a few months afterwards, I fell ill. Now, I didn't know I was ill at the time, but I guess now looking back, I can sort of like see the picture. Towards like just before we came, I used to feel a little bit tired. Whenever I'd cut myself, I'd bleed longer than usual. And but you never know this. You just think, it's okay, you know, it'll pass because all is healed anyway. And then when we came here, it carried on, but we never knew anything was wrong. Until one time, I started, when I go to the toilet, there'll be blood in the toilet. And so we went to the hospital and they did some tests, but they weren't sure what was wrong with me. So we, one time we went, because when they checked my blood, they found something in my blood was low. And this is called platelets. So platelets, for those that know or don't know anyway, is when you cut yourself, it what clots the blood, so it stopped bleeding. I had a very low count of that. So they decided to give me some platelets, but they didn't realize I was allergic to the platelets. And then all of a sudden I just fainted. I don't remember what happened. It turned out that I had leukemia, which is a cancer of the blood. And well, that turned the whole family upside down, I guess. But I didn't know because I was in a coma for about 2 months. And to me, from what I remember, it was just almost like a sleep, like just a day, and I woke up. But it happened like, apparently I couldn't remember my mom, couldn't remember anybody, and I couldn't move because when you're lying down in bed for like 2 months, your muscles just deplete and go. So apparently I went through physiotherapy to get back into shape and all that. I don't remember any of that. All I do remember is waking up and telling my dad that Saddam Hussein is in my toilet. That sort of came because whenever my dad used to come and visit, my stepdad used to come and visit, he'd listen to the news and they'll talk about Saddam Hussein. I think this was towards going the Iraq War, I think. They'll talk about Saddam Hussein. So that I could hear it while I was unconscious. So in my dream, I was dreaming Saddam Hussein was in the toilet at the back, chasing chickens. I don't know how that happened. But when I finally woke up, I realized what had happened to me. I had cancer. They explained everything to me. But because I was young, I was only about 17, it didn't hit me quite as much. Telling me, oh, you might not have children. I was like, I don't want children. Yeah, it just didn't affect me as much as my mom and everybody else. But during that time, they would get people to come and pray for me. So because the family was Christian, so they got a lot of Christians to come. They used to come and pray for me, you know, in the name of Jesus and all that. And that, after the healing, because obviously you feel at the time, because you don't have the knowledge, you feel like, oh yeah, this definitely happened because they were praying to Jesus. So I guess I need to get back into religion to, you know, to thank him. You know, I didn't know what I was doing at the time. But anyway, when I finally got out of hospital, got back into the rhythm of life, InshaAllah, alhamdulillah, I wanted to go back to religion. And there was something about Christianity that started not to sit well with me for some reason. It was just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like when you go to one church, they'll tell you something, and I went to another church and they'll tell me something else. You all know the story. We've heard so many of these journeys to Islam when, you know, the truth, when the truth hits you, you know it's the truth because it's, you know, it's part of our fitrah, right? So, yeah, it just didn't sit well, whatever I was hearing. But I kept remembering my granddad, because he's my inspiration, and kept thinking, oh, I wonder what he would be telling me, because he was the only person I could think of who could help me, you know, get back into religion, let's say. So a few years later, my granddad sent some letters, and he was saying that he's not Christian anymore in those letters. And he started pointing out verses in the Bible saying why he's not Christian anymore. So this intrigued me because I was reading this. I was thinking, oh, but if my granddad is having doubts and he knows the Bible back to front, what about me? What do I do now? You know, because I don't really know if I fit in the Christian religion. But luckily, at school, before I got ill, I met, I know you know Brother Saleh in the office. I met Brother Saleh, and he introduced me to two other brothers, Hamid and Ibrahim. They're part of the community, you know them anyway. We used to go to their house quite a bit, you know, after school, go and visit, and I knew they were Muslim, but I didn't know what Islam was about. We'd talk at distance, you know, it wasn't like, because they were young as well, they didn't know much of the religion, but we would talk, I'll do the usual answers, yeah, no, Jesus this and Jesus that, you know, the usual stories. But then at some point, whatever they were saying started making sense. And yeah, I just sort of like started now, not reading about it, but forgetting maybe Christianity wasn't for me, maybe moving, seeing what Islam had to offer. So anyways, one day I met somebody who was on his, I think he was on his journey to Islam. He already accepted that Islam was a religion. And I think he just took his Shahada. I met him at work, and he was just telling me, oh, you should, if you want to know about the religion, I should introduce you to this sheikh. His name is Hamid. So I was like, okay, I guess, you know, I had nothing to lose. So I started watching some Hamid videos, and lo and behold, he reminded me of my grandfather, but a Muslim version. And his passion, the way he was talking about the religion, you know, the way he would explain Christianity to me better than other Christians would. And then he would explain Islam even better. That was such a good feeling watching those Hamid videos. And I started watching them on, first I bought like the DVDs, and then I found out he was on YouTube. So I started watching them on YouTube as well. So really got a lot of information from the Sheikh. May Allah have mercy on his soul. It just started making sense. For those that have been through the journey, you know what I'm talking about, yes? It just made sense. It was very clear. The questions I had were answered straight away. You know, there wasn't any faffing about, oh no, you just believe, Akhi, or you just believe, brother. It wasn't like that. It was just, why should you believe? There was faith and proof. It wasn't just faith-based. So that intrigued me quite a bit. And it was now just the transition to become Muslim, to say my Shahada. That was the difficult bit. Because for some reason, even though I knew it was the truth, I felt I was betraying Jesus, right? It's hard to explain. I felt like, you know, if I become Muslim, you know, is Jesus going to be angry with me? Because in my head, there was still that confusion whether Jesus was God or not, astaghfirullah. But just that transition was a bit difficult. But one day, for some reason, alhamdulillah, I was on the way with the brother Ibrahim I was telling you about earlier. I was on the way to Lewisham, I think. Maybe we're going to do some shopping or something. And just as we got to this bus stop here, opposite the Masjid, for some reason the bus stopped longer than it should have. I mean, I don't know if there was confusion about someone not paying their money downstairs. I don't know what happened. So I was upstairs and I was looking at the masjid. I was looking at it while the bus was stopped. I just told Ibrahim, I said, let me take my shahada. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, I think let me take my shahada. He didn't hesitate, he just grabbed my hand, let's go. So we came downstairs, we came to the masjid. I already knew Imam Shakil because we spoke briefly earlier, in a few months ago or something. I told Imam Shakil, I want to take my shahada. And he was very excited, how the Imam is. So he, we went to his office, we spoke for a little bit. And I said, I think I want to do it, So, are you sure? I said, yes, I want to do it. So we came out here. I can't remember the day, but there was a lot of people, and I'm quite shy and nervous around people. But when I saw this huge crowd, I was shaking, and then I had to speak, in Arabic as well. It's like a foreign tongue, I was just really nervous when the time came to take my shahada. So anyway, I took my shahada, alhamdulillah. I don't know if some of you were there, you probably don't remember, alhamdulillah, it's okay. I don't remember myself, but I took my shahada, and the feeling after taking the shahada was, how can I explain it? It's difficult to explain. It was such a relief, like as if a burden was taken off my shoulders. Whatever issues I had in life, it was all forgotten in that moment. It was clarity, I guess. Everything became clear, I think. I took my shahada, alhamdulillah, got a few hugs. And then now, the journey now to actually practice in Islam was another journey. Because at the time, I was involved in music. Right? I used to do music to try and, the plan was to earn some money, so I can send that money back home to Zambia, because I had a lot of relatives, and I was sure that I was going to make it big, make millions, send it over, make people have a happy life in Zambia. And I think we were just on the brink, well, I think anyway, we were just about to get to some serious deals, or making some money. But then I was told that actually in Islam, music is haram. I was like, what? So, when I was told that, it was sort of like a bit shocking. But then I was saying to myself, just making excuses. Like, you know what? Okay, I'll do the music. And then I just won't do any swearing, because, I don't want to do any swearing or anything. So, the instruments are haram, and, the content itself, you'll be talking about girls and whatever, it's just not right. So for a long time, I refused to give up music. I was still doing it. I didn't practice much in terms of praying. I mean, I probably pray when I was around Muslims, but when I was at home doing the music, there was no interest going forward. But something happened though, because during Ramadan, I don't know if it was my first Ramadan or second Ramadan, where Ramadan came, I was trying to fast, trying to pray. It was a bit difficult because I didn't even come for classes or anything to get knowledge, learn from more knowledgeable people. So it was a bit difficult because I've always been one that wanted to learn things myself, go by my own pace. I learned music by myself, doing graphics by myself. So I thought, I'll learn Islam by myself, I've always done it. It was, one Ramadan came, we did the Ramadan, and then Eid, when Eid approached, I didn't even know that I had to go for Eid prayers. I thought it was optional. Until, because luckily the Masjid was doing like the Eid prayers, like several Eid prayers. So the friend who introduced me to Hamid, he went like for an earlier one and he didn't see me. So he drove all the way to my house and I was asleep. And he came and he woke me up in the bedroom. I said, Alex, what are you doing? That's why, Alex, what are you doing? You need to get up, you need to go pray Eid. I said, I thought it was optional. I said, no, I don't know if this is true. I haven't clarified this. He just told me, no, if you don't pray the Eid, then your Ramadan is not valid. That's what he told me. I said, really? I've tried really hard, fasting and all that, and that will be for nothing. No. I got ready quickly, came to the Masjid, alhamdulillah, made it, prayed. And then for some reason, when that happened, alhamdulillah, it changed again something in me in terms of my music. Because then I got home, and I was trying to make a beat, but I thought, no, today's Eid. Let me not do any of this rubbish, you know. Let me try and not do it. But the shaitan, he had a hold on me in terms of music. You know, when they tell you music is haram, I know that because when I was making beats, it was like a curse. I couldn't go anywhere. I'd be hearing songs in my head all the time. I wake up in the morning, and then because I didn't know how to play instruments, I would panic. I say, yo, before the beat goes, let me go on the computer quickly and put it down before it disappears from my head, because this could make us money. So that was like the struggle I had every day, just music, wherever I was, just music just playing in my head. I couldn't even interact properly with people. It's just like, oh, I hear a beat, I have to go. I said, Afiq, come, let's go pray Salah. No, I have to go and make my beat. Astaghfirullah. But anyway, that Eid, when I thought of making music, it didn't appeal at all for some reason. I just didn't want to do it. And the next day, the same feeling, the next day, the same feeling. And then this is when now things were moving forward now. The shaitan was trying to tempt me. I said, come on, the music is doing good now. You're going to the studios, you're going to get signed really soon. So I went to the studio, recorded some songs, and then while we were at the studio, my cousin was rapping in the booth. I was outside. I thought, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Then when I told him that, he was like, what? We're just about to make it and you believe it now? I said, listen, I don't want to do it. I gave him all the songs. I said, listen, take it, I don't want it. I just came back home, and again, another burden was sort of like lifted from me. So that was, it was difficult at first. Like even though I gave it up, sometimes I try to go back to it, but then I'll play like music like just maybe 2 minutes, then it just didn't appeal anymore. I just drop it. So anyway, that was my thing of trying to leave music, and alhamdulillah, I've left it for so many years now. Once in a while I miss it, but alhamdulillah, Allah has kept me firm, alhamdulillah, may He continue to do so, ameen. So anyways, another thing happened. After that event, I had a relapse of the leukemia in 2001, and this time they wanted to get rid of it fully. Because the first time when they gave me chemotherapy, it wasn't as strong because I was young and I was in the coma. They were afraid that if they give me something too strong, I might not make it. So this time I was, active and fit, and they thought, okay, listen, while you're active, we'll try and get rid of it. So they gave me quite a heavy dose, strong dose of chemotherapy. And during this time, I can't remember, was I Muslim at the time? No, I don't think I was Muslim at the time because, I remember Saleh brought Hamid and Ibrahim to come and visit me. Yeah, so I don't think I was Muslim at the time. But anyway, when I had this second dose of leukemia, second dose of chemotherapy, it was so strong that it damaged my heart. But we didn't know this at the time. This was 2001. So from 2001 to 2005, when I was finally diagnosed with a heart problem, I could feel myself. I thought, I'm probably getting old. At the time I was only like 22, but I used to play football a lot, and I just couldn't run anymore, just breathless. Couldn't breathe. I didn't understand why. I just thought, okay, maybe it's because of the effects of the leukemia and the chemotherapy slowed me down. But actually, because when they give you chemotherapy, they put like a tube through there, and it goes into your heart directly. So that's how they pump the chemotherapy into you. So that, because it was so strong, it was hitting the heart, straight away. So anyway, So it destroyed the heart. But luckily, alhamdulillah, again, Allah has been looking after me. Luckily, my mom, she's a trained cardio nurse. So she recognized the symptoms and she decided, you know what, let's go to the hospital, we'll do some tests. We did some tests and finally found out that yes, I did have a heart problem. So that was another thing. I was known as the sick one in the family, you know, that was my privilege. It wasn't, alhamdulillah, it wasn't like I thought like it was a difficulty on myself. Because I guess I have to say Allah strengthened me in that way, because it affected the people around me, but for myself, maybe because I was young, I didn't understand properly, it just didn't affect me that much. But then I finally got a pacemaker, which helps pump my heart. Alhamdulillah, I'm healthy, breathing, you know. So for any of you who are going through like health problems, you know, Allah does not burden you with what you cannot bear, essentially. Anyways, we're trying to be an imam there, giving some advice. But anyway, during this time now, for those of you that, once you become Muslim and you're full of, I think, Iman, you think, oh yeah, I've got all this knowledge, I want to share this knowledge, tell everybody, hey, listen, what you're doing is wrong, Christianity is wrong, and whatever you're doing is wrong. So I was on that sort of attitude, I had that sort of attitude with my family, because I really wanted them to become Muslim. I thought, listen, this is the best thing. Can't you feel what I'm feeling? You know, why are people listening to music and all sorts? It made people uncomfortable. I didn't realize I was making like my family uncomfortable. I was trying to give dawah to my younger sisters, but the one that comes directly after me, she's 6 years younger. She was interested for a bit, but because my approach wasn't that great in terms of like my attitude or dismissing things she was saying, it didn't help. And even up to now, she's got no interest, although she has doubts about Christianity, but you know, may Allah guide her. But luckily, alhamdulillah, after so many years of making dua, because I was trying to think, how can I give my mother dawah? She wasn't religious, per se. And because I was listening to Hamid a lot, he would talk to Christians who were practicing, or you know, they were really engrossed in their religion, they knew their religion. So that's how I knew how to talk to people. But when it came to my mom, you know, she hardly went to church or anything like that. So I didn't know how to approach her. So it was difficult. And also, like, when you're trying to, it's an African thing, I think, in terms of culture, you know, you're trying to educate your elders is also another, you know, it's a bit difficult, you know, the elders are like, what are you telling me? Who are you? You know, that kind of a thing. So, yeah, it was a bit difficult, but I tried, like, with my attitude to try and show that, you know, Islam makes you different. But the problem with that as well, because I was such a good boy even before Islam, I didn't drink, I didn't go out to the clubs. The only thing that I did really was music. And when I stopped that, she just thought, oh, I thought you were going to make money to feed the family back home. I said, sorry, I can't do music because Islam says it's wrong. So that's the only change she saw in me. But everything else, you know, she didn't see much change. So it didn't really affect her that much. But after I got married and I had children, she's so in love with her grandchildren right now. She's been coming to visit us a lot. She got to know my wife a lot, they're good friends. So I guess maybe that, alhamdulillah, rubbed off. You know, she would be more open to Islam. And I just kept making dua, that, you know, may Allah guide her, because my mom is such a lovely person. And just to think of, like, what, you know, the sort of ending, you know, for people who haven't said their shahada, it really affected me. That's the only thing that was really hurting me now, was my mom and my family weren't Muslim. But alhamdulillah, earlier this year, my mom took her shahada in a weird way. Because lately she's been traveling a lot, And whenever she would travel, fly, I would panic and I would write the Shahada. I say, Mom, I give it to her, Mom, listen, if the pilot says, listen, we're going down, please read this. She's like, okay, what does it say? La ilaha, yes. I told her how to say it. Please, don't panic, just get this and read it. And what she was doing, whenever she gets on the plane, she just take it out. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. She'd read it throughout the journey, that's what she was telling me. So I was telling her, one time I asked her, I said, Mom, do you still have the note I gave you? She said, yes, I read it all the time I travel. I said to her, if you actually read that and you believe it, that makes you a Muslim. And she was just like, okay, call me a Muslim then. I was like, what? I was shocked on the phone because it was something I was asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for so long. And the way He gave it to me, it was unexpected. So even up to now, I'm shocked. I say, when Mom comes, she says, Assalamu alaikum. I'm like, wa alaikum salam. So, it's very surreal. I'm still trying to get used to it. So slowly but surely, she herself is even asking me, listen, when I come to babysit the children, teach me some Quran or something. I said, oh, okay. I've just been so excited now, very happy, alhamdulillah. And then a few weeks ago, my younger sister, not the one that I was talking to, the one that's 6 years younger, there's one that's 16 years younger than me. And she took her Shahada, alhamdulillah. And her Shahada, sort of like, because I've been talking to her, after I learned how to speak properly, it's very important to talk to people on their level. This is what I've learned, someone told me one time that people have different diseases, you don't give them the same medication, so you have to adjust your medication accordingly. So I was speaking to my younger sister for a very long time, and finally a few weeks ago she took her Shahada. I didn't witness it, but yeah, she tells me that she took it, so alhamdulillah, I'll take anything at this point, because that's my dream now, is to try and do some dawah for my family. And inshallah, make dua that Allah makes it easy for me and for all of us, inshallah. I guess maybe, what can I say? I don't know if that story was interesting enough, but I guess that's all I have for you today. Maybe if I remember more things, I'll maybe come back, inshallah, and do another story, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for listening to me, and may Allah make things easy for you